Goeienaand, jy is ingeskakel op In Gesprek met my, Lorenza Eckhardt. Dr Mpho Phalatse is enkele dae gelede as die DA se burgemeester in Johannesburg uit die kussings gelig. Die blame hiervoor word vanuit sommige geleedere op die DA se leierskap gesit, omdat hulle geweier het om sekere toegewings aan die DA se koalisievennote te maak. Wel, vandag het Dr Phalatse aangekondig sy sal die DA-leier vir die topposisie in die Blou Party uitdaag. Sy sit hier oorkant my om oor haar kandidatuur te praat. And let's start with what happened last week. So, reports suggest that the coalition collapsed because the DA refused to give the Patriotic Alliance what they wanted, and that was the portfolio of economic development. Is that true?
Unfortunately, the FedEx in the DA has ruled that our spokespersons should speak on the matter. I'm not one of the spokespersons on the matter, and so I've been discouraged from talking about it. The people who are encouraged to speak about it are John Steenhuisen, Solim Maladzi, Solim Simanga, as well as Celia's Brink.
Can you at least say whether you are disappointed in what happened last week?
Yes, I am. We had great plans for the city. We had just announced the morning of the ousting, actually, we just announced a plan to offset 3 stages of load shedding. That would be a life-changing experience for our residents. We were looking forward to bringing in the money and rolling it out.
Do you think that the party could have done more, perhaps, to save the coalition?
I would have liked us to fight a little bit more, yes, but the FedEx decided and the FedEx decided.
What do you think this means for the residents of Johannesburg? It's the 7th mayor we've had since 2016. We know service delivery is a massive issue for the residents of the city. What's your message to them?
Well, there is grave instability. I have many messages to our residents. It starts with the elections. If you look at the electoral outcome in 2021, I got 26% of the vote. The vote was split tremendously, and that's why we are where we are today. If you look at voter turnout, we could have done better as residents. I get frustrated when residents complain, yet when you ask them to come out to vote, they don't come out. I hope that what's happening here, as painful as it is, will be remembered in the next election, and that's a few months away in 2024. Of course, that's not a local government election, but I hope to see us do better already in the general election ahead of the 2026 local government election.
On that note, you're part of the DA leadership and you're contesting for the top position. What's your message to South Africans that might say the DA is arrogant when it comes to coalitions and they are unable to build stable coalitions?
I do think that we have a lot to do to improve how we relate to other political parties. Generally, I think that goes to all the parties. I don't think that any of the parties in our coalition were necessarily perfect. I think that we all have a lot to learn from the experiences we've had, particularly in the city of Johannesburg. I do think that the DA as well needs to introspect. Unfortunately, coalitions are here. I know that we've had one in the city of Cape Town that was led by Helen Zille years back. Things have changed since then, and I do believe that we need to reconsider how we approach these coalitions.
So if you say the party needs to introspect, what would you say is the biggest lesson that the party should have learned in what happened in Johannesburg?
Well, I mean, a lot of the parties are asking for greater flexibility and that sort of thing. I mean, I can't really go into detail about what happened, as I've already indicated, but they are asking for greater flexibility, more adaptability to whatever the circumstance of the day.
So you've announced today that you will be standing for the top position in the DA. What sets you apart from the current leader, John Steenhuisen?
I think I've got a lot of experience, a lot of qualifications and experience that I bring to the table. One thing about me is when I decided to be part of the change that I wanted to see in my country, I immediately went and equipped myself. That was the first thing, because I realized that it's not enough to just be in politics. You need to understand the inner workings of government. You need to understand how to diagnose problems and how to conceptualize solutions and implement those. And I walked away from a thriving business to go to school for 4 years. I immersed myself in a course at Wits University to study public health medicine, which is public administration with a focus on health care. And it really helped me understand how government works. It helped me understand a lot. It was experiential learning over a 4-year period. I bring that experience into this challenge. I bring the experience of having been a politician, both in government and in opposition. You do remember that I served as an MMC for for Health and Social Development. And then we went into opposition for 2 years when Mayor Mashaba stepped down. And then I came back as the mayor, leading a multi-party government of about 9 political parties, the biggest in the country, very complex, and we still had to push through and try and stabilize and build a broken city. I think that's quite a lot of experience. Before I joined politics, I worked in government as a technocrat. I ran my own business. I worked in the private sector. So I do think that I've got a lot of experience that talks to a lot of players within the Democratic Alliance. I think if you're in government, I'll be able to relate to your challenges, and I'll be able to provide leadership from an informed point of view, not just from what I know from opposition benches. And I think that's crucial.
That's interesting. You talk about your governance experience, but running a political party might be something different. Why do you think your biggest challenges will be in trying to unite or keep the party united?
Well, I think a lot of old ways that we may be set in. I think society is calling on us to introspect and transform as the Democratic Alliance. And I think dealing with old mindsets and trying to get the party to adapt to a very changing world, fast changing world, to the electorate that's saying we want the Democratic Alliance, we want them to lead us, but we want to break through this mistrust that still remains between us and the party, and us being able to listen and take the electorate with us and be able to take them to a place where they can actually relate to the party. I do recognize that will probably be a challenge, but I'm up for it.
So John Steenhuisen's previous 2 challenges, Mashule Ghana and Bali Ntuli, left the party shortly after they were defeated. Will you remain in the DA if you are not successful?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm in this contest to win it, of course, but should I not win it, yes, I will continue to use whatever leverage I have from my position as DA caucus leader in Johannesburg and whatever other opportunity there is for me to instill whatever change that I would like to see in the party, I'll make use of it.
Do you think there's a realistic chance in the country where we are at the moment that a party like the DA can grow or increase electoral support with a white man at the helm?
I listen to a lot of South Africans daily, black, white, and they're all saying no, that's not the way to go. And that's part of the reason I feel that more diverse leaders need to put their hand up, because that's what South Africans are asking for.
If you have one message to party members for why they should vote for you above John Steenhuisen, what would that be?
This contest is not actually about the DA, it's about the future of South Africa. In 2024, for the first time, we're going to see the ANC plummet below 50%. We've got a real opportunity now to govern and take this country forward. We've been stuck in liberation politics since 1994. We're moving into a different type of politics. And I'd like the DA members, all Democrats in our party, to think about that and consider the huge responsibility that sits on their shoulders to contribute towards taking this country forward. It would take a DA that's growing, that's thriving, that's relatable, representative. It would take a DA that will take advantage of its position as the largest opposition right now to provide the kind of leadership that South Africa needs going forward. We've got a trusted brand of good governance, but we need to be able to bring the electorate on our side to be able to get an opportunity to govern for them. And that's the challenge that we have now. The 2,000 delegates going to that Congress will need to think about what South Africa will look like post-2024.
And then just lastly, if you are successful and you are elected leader of the party, and with which other parties would you go into coalitions with in the various coalitions where you are?
I think it's difficult to say that ahead of the time, because what I've seen is that parties evolve all the time, self-correct and transform all the time. It's always important to be open-minded and at the time to look at what's on the table and consider each one as they come.
All right, Dr Mpho Phalatse, thank you so much.